Hi, I'm Ashley Adams. I'm going to be talking today about folding, what it is and when to fold. Ever heard the expression, quitters never win and winners never quit? It's a good saying to provide motivation for athletes, but it is deadly advice for the poker player. In fact, for the poker player, the exact opposite is true, because poker players actually lose by not quitting and win by quitting correctly. Quitting in poker is called folding. When betting action comes to you, if you decide you are not going to play your hand, you fold. You quit until the next hand is dealt, putting no more money into the pot. When you fold, you have quit the hand. Being selective is the key to winning at poker. Knowing when to fold correctly. Pre-flop folding is the most common form of folding and therefore the most important. Very simply put, you are going to have a range of hands that you play, your playable range, based on your position at the table and the prior betting action. The rest of the hands you're dealt, you will fold. As a practical matter, this means that you will actually be folding the vast majority of your pre-flop hands.
So, which hands precisely will you fold? I've prepared some charts to make your decision crystal clear. When you are starting out, you'll follow these guidelines exactly, taking all of the thinking out of your hands. You'll be playing like a robot, folding exactly the hands indicated in these charts based on your position. As you progress as a player and learn how to read the playing styles of your opponents, you may take that into consideration. But for now, follow these guidelines to the letter. Early position, seats 3 and 4. In a game with 8 or more players, this is the first and second seat after the big blind. We're going to be very tight. Not a rock, but nearly so by folding nearly 90% of the time. You'll be folding all but the super premium hands that are highlighted below. Late position, button and cutoff next to the last seat. In a game with 8 or more players, this is the button and the seat immediately before the button known as the cutoff. We're going to play relatively loosely. That is to say, we're folding roughly 50% of our hands as seen in the cutoff chart. We're applying cutoff to all late position, cutoff and button. Mid position, seats in between 5 and cutoff. In a game with 8 or more players, these are the seats after seat 4, but before the last 2 seats. In this position, you'll play a little looser than early position, but a little tighter than late position. You'll fold nearly 65% of your hands as indicated in this chart. Blinds. In the blinds, pre-flop, to keep it simple, you will follow the guidelines of early position if there is a raise.
By concentrating on playing only the hands that have a good chance of winning, you'll be helping your bottom line, your profit. Consider another famous expression. Money saved is money earned. This one does apply well to poker. Your net winnings are the difference between the amount of money you win on your winning hands minus the amount of money you lose on your losing hands. By minimizing your losses on your trash hands, by folding pre-flop, you are actually earning more money in the long run. So don't play those losing hands. You don't just save money by folding hands pre-flop, however, though that's what we focused on up until now. And that's where most of your savings will come from because you're going to be folding the vast majority of those pre-flop hands. You also need to learn to quit by folding after the flop and after the turn and on the river when you have already invested some money into the hand. There's a famous saying in the poker world. This is all about sayings. Don't fall in love with your hand. I want you to think about that when we look at post-flop folding. The idea is that even if your pre-flop hand is very strong, one of the few that you play, you shouldn't just stay with it no matter what throughout the other betting rounds. And here's an extreme example of that. You're dealt two red kings, two beautiful red kings in the cutoff position, the next to last position, in a 1-2 no-limit game. You're playing against a relatively straightforward player whom you see regularly in your game. Pre-flop, one player comes in for $10, he gets a caller, and then the action comes to you. With your kings, you figure you're likely ahead of the raiser and the caller, so you re-raise to $30. Both players call. You got it? You've got two kings, two other players in front of you. You've raised, they've called pre-flop. Now the flop is ace of spades, queen of spades, two of clubs. So two spades, ace, queen, and a deuce, offsuit deuce. The first player who started the action pre-flop, whom you raised and then he called, he comes out with a $50 bet. The next player raises, going all in for 200. You have 300 in your stack, about what the first player has. You look at your kings. You think kings are a really strong hand, and you're tempted to call, not wanting to be pushed around with such a good hand. Resist the temptation to call. Don't fall in love with those kings and stay with them till the end. Your hand has gone south in a hurry and now almost surely is second best and maybe even third best, as you've almost surely you're up against at least a pair of aces, if not two pair or a set. Don't fall in love with that hand, even though it started out really good. Quit. Fold. This is not to say that you need to become timid, always worrying about monsters under the bet whenever someone shows strength, but to become a successful poker player, you'll need to be able to size up situations to determine when you are too far behind to continue to play, even when you started out ahead. And you must have the courage of your convictions and fold. Of course, you don't always want to fold when you think you're behind. You have to consider your odds of drawing the winning hand from behind. I've done tutorials for chippy.com where you can read all about drawing odds and pot odds to figure out when that situation exists. And when you have the right odds, you shouldn't fold. And of course, if you believe that your opponent is bluffing, you may want to call if you believe that you have the winning hand. But don't let your belief that your opponent may be bluffing convince you to call even when you really believe you're behind. By folding, strategically folding, when you have good reason to believe you have the worst of it, you will be taking a large step to winning in poker.